Hi everyone. I'm thinking of all of you and hoping that everyone is staying safe and healthy and doing well, and considering the circumstances, of course. Um, as people have said and will continue to point out, these are strange times for all of us with a lot of uncertainty and very few answers. I know that for myself, it is very weird celebrating Palm Sunday over a recorded video. Especially instead of being with all of you in person. I was really looking forward to experiencing Trinity's Palm Sunday traditions together, whatever those may have been. Please do know that I hold all of you in my prayers, and I cannot wait until we are able to meet again face to face with each other. Today I'll be reflecting on the words of the processional gospel, which comes from Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 through 11. Throughout these verses, there are many references to words of prophets found in the Old Testament passages like Isaiah and Jeremiah, which predict the coming of a king, the fulfillment of King David. The fulfillment of King David, or a coming king, was a promise to the Israelite people that God would soon deliver them. Jesus is proclaimed in this gospel text from Matthew to be the son of David, and therefore the fulfillment of the line of David, the coming king, the promised deliverance of Israel. Jesus was to be a figure of hope that the coming kingdom of God would soon be upon us through his death and resurrection. Another thing to note here in this passage, besides the Old Testament references, is that this story is taking place during the season of Passover. And Passover was a time of pilgrimage and festival in the Jewish faith. So most of the time, Roman officials left Jerusalem to the priests in the courts of the temple. But for holidays like Passover, when there would be extra people making pilgrimages into the city, they doubled their watch over the city. So Jesus is riding into Jerusalem, much like he did on a donkey, with the crowd preceding him, shouting his praise, was, of course, very controversial. And it seems as though Jesus was intentionally creating a scene or a disruption to cause people to stop and either recognize him as Messiah or question his royal presence here on earth. Now, I do not know about you, but I could almost guess that much like myself, you're in desperate need of hope or light or just something good right now in the midst of all this mess. I think this Palm Sunday is exactly what we might be needing. And I just invite you to put yourself in the place of the text for the moment. Let's just say you're one of the Jews from Jerusalem. You get word that Jesus, the man you've been hearing wild miracle stories about, is coming to Jerusalem. A fellow Jewish neighbor tells you that tomorrow there will be a gathering outside of the city to meet this man, Jesus. You lay down to sleep that night, but your mind is racing with questions and excitement about the possibility of meeting the maybe Messiah. The next day, you venture alone outside of the city to join the crowd along the road that leads into Jerusalem. People are pushing and shoving one another to get side of the road where Jesus is to pass. All of a sudden you hear shouting in the distance, and you look over to the hills. There you see a small crowd being followed by a man on a donkey while a colt walks alongside him. As they draw near and the shouts get louder, proclaiming Jesus as the promised son of David, I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck and my arms starting to rise. People begin throwing their cloaks and palm branches on the road before the procession, as if to protect the king from touching the dirty ground. I did not know if this was truly the Messiah prophesied about, but I had to have hope. I desperately wished I could give up my cloak to lay at his feet. I couldn't help but hope he would be the new promised king that would save us from this strict, oppressive Roman rule. As Jesus got closer and closer, emotions welled up in me, and I was left in awe. Just like that, the Messiah had walked before my very eyes. At this time, it's easy to fall into despair or hopelessness, but I challenge you and myself to hold on to hope as hard as we possibly can. Keep your eyes open for the Messiah, the God who is all around. We can lean on him for our deliverance, for he is the Son of David, the Passover lamb that has come to fulfill the promises of God, to establish and maintain his kingdom here on earth. Allow the approaching Messiah that rides into Jerusalem on this Palm Sunday to be your light and your hope. I just invite you to take time daily to recognize where God is in your world, even in the small ways we may have previously overlooked, because he is there. He's with you all the time. He's walking with us. And I just would like to send you all my peace and my thoughts and my love, and I hope to see you all very soon.